So the thing to note about the rate of suicide in the Macedon Ranges is that 4 out of 5 deaths by suicide were accounted for by men. In response to the statistics, some local research was undertaken to try and understand why it was that boys and men were so significantly represented in these statistics. And what they actually found was that boys and men still struggled to ask for help, to talk about things like mental health. And particularly showing vulnerability, it was still seen as something that they felt shameful about. Following on from the research, Vic Health funded Sunbury and Cobourg to undertake a number of pilots in the community. So the idea behind the pilots were that we were going to explore and also challenge some of the outdated and harmful gender stereotypes and expectations with boys and men and their impacts that it has on their mental health and well-being. We decided to engage with the community in 2 separate pilots. The first of these pilots was called Raising Teenage Boys in Macedon Ranges. With that particular pilot, we engaged with parents and carers of teenage boys. And what we did then was we reached out to Tomorrow Man, who are expert facilitators in these areas.
They had a large group. There was between 60 and 100 of us, which was great because it made you feel part of a larger community and realise that you weren't entirely alone in helping your children deal with these sorts of things.
The second pilot program we decided to trial in the Macedon Ranges was called Mentoring Teenage Boys in Macedon Ranges. So this is where we look to people like mentors and leaders that young people can be surrounded with. So we approached sports coaches, scout leaders, youth workers, community volunteers, anyone who has the ability to have a positive influence on the lives of young men.
I was asked to join the project because I'm a member of this men's shed. Men's sheds are primarily about men's health, most of which is about mental health.
Gisborne Cricket Club are quite big on the mentors. We do have designated mentors within the club.
For this particular program, we reached out to Man Cave Academy to help us design and facilitate the program. I'm
sitting there thinking, I just coach kids to play cricket, but there's people who are coaching these kids in life and difficult times in their life as well.
Well, in this shed, we run what we call a Young Shedmen program. It's for boys typically in year 9 and 10 who are disengaging from education. Whatever we could learn to improve how we run that program, we're open for it.
You know, we covered a lot of stuff about homosexuality and how it's perceived and how you perceive it, and you know, how we treat women, how we treat each other.
And that's one of the feedback that we got from a lot of men that when they finished this course was that they said, I used to always think of vulnerability as such a weakness. But what I've actually learned and what I've seen from the facilitators and the participants was that it's actually such a strength. An exciting unplanned initiative that came out of this work was the Cut the Silence campaign.
We were talking about the idea of men talking, opening up. The barbershop seemed to be a really great broad catchment area because at some point or another all men need a haircut or a beard trim. There's also something about sort of sitting and having someone behind you that it's not that confrontational face-to-face thing. I've worked pretty extensively with Shane Jacobson and he jumped on board immediately. He's a local resident.
Mental health is what we're here to talk about. Do we need to talk more?
Once Matt came up with the idea, we approached a number of barbers in the Macedon Ranges about the whole concept.
We all agreed to become Cut the Silence barbershops. In order to do that, they needed to complete training so they could recognise if a customer was having potentially a hard time, and then they would be able to help recommend where they might be able to find some help.
If you're not feeling so great, tell someone and have a conversation with them.
These sort of programs are really important, I think, to follow up on and continually do. And I know at the cricket club here, we'll certainly be looking to do 1 or 2 sessions a year.
And this is really showing us the true value in this work and how we need and why it is that we need to do more of this work to support our community.
Yeah, the whole experience is it's really opened up a whole new avenue for me to talk to my sons.
I've always been interested in mental health, and I think I've learned a bit more about that. It's helped me develop my own personal perspective.
Yeah, I can't speak highly enough of the program. Overall, I think that it brought us closer. It gave us a much better feeling of trust because he understands now that there is an open and safe space for him to discuss some of those issues that perhaps he didn't realise was there in the past.